Welcome to the Heavy Spoilers Show. I'm your host Deffinition, and you're now locked into the channel where we break down all the latest movies, new game releases, TV shows and comic books. This episode we're going to be covering one of the most mysterious elements of the new HBO show Watchmen, which is Ozymandias Plan. Throughout this video I'm going to be giving my fan theory on what exactly is going on with the character and all of the evidence to support it. There will be heavy spoilers for the graphic novel and first 3 episodes of the show here, and if this turns out to be true then big ones going forward, so if you want to go into the show as blind as possible then I highly suggest that you turn off now. If I manage to finally pronounce Ozymandias properly for the first time ever in a video then give me a thumbs up, and without further ado let's get into our breakdown of his plan. Okay, so just a quick recap of the character's entire history in case you haven't read the graphic novel and just want to get up to speed. So Ozymandias, real name Adrian Veidt, was a masked vigilante born in 1939 to rich German parents. After they died when the character was 17, he inherited their fortune but decided to donate it all to charity, choosing to build himself from the ground up instead. Veidt travelled the world following in the footsteps of Alexander the Great, and upon completing his journey decided to become a crime fighter. Extremely intelligent and someone who had trained their body to peak physical condition, Veidt quickly rose through the ranks until he became a renowned vigilante with a reputation for being the smartest man on the planet. When the Keen Act was put in place which outlawed superheroes, Veidt came forward with his real identity and name and turned himself into a brand, using the technology he had developed over the years as a commodity in order to become a multi-billionaire. Due to his foresight, Veidt realised that with the arrival of Dr. Manhattan, the world would begin to fear America, and that this would increase to a point where nuclear war was inevitable. In order to avert this, Veidt decided that the best way to stop the war was to unite everyone in fighting a common enemy, and thus instead of pointing their arms at one another, they would point them at this one threat. Depending on whether you've read the graphic novel or have seen the film adaptation, this goes one of 2 ways, with Ozzy framing Dr. Manhattan for murdering millions in the movie, or faking an alien invasion by a giant squid that too caused countless deaths in the book. The latter of which required Ozzy piling together psychics, writers and artists to create the most fear-inducing being that would unite the planet under one common enemy, and as this show is a direct sequel to the graphic novel, this is the continuity that I'll be going with for this video. Now so far in the show we know that it is still widely believed that there was an alien attack in 1985, though there exists some conspiracy theories that this was a hoax. As for Veidt himself, in 2012 after True Industries purchased his companies, the character went missing. Following this, in 2017, the governor of Vietnam claimed that the Vietnamese Liberation Front had assassinated him as an act of terror against the United States, and on September 9, 2019, Veidt was declared officially dead. However, from the show we know that this very clearly isn't the case, and that Veidt is still indeed alive, though exactly where he is up for debate, and I'm going to be kinda discussing my fan theory on this as well as what the character is planning to do. Okay, so initially it seemed like he was living in paradise, surrounded by servants, living every day like it was his birthday. However, as the show has gone on, we've learned that he is indeed trapped in this place, unable to escape and desperate to get away. I think that it's a safe assumption to make that someone somewhere has indeed realised or already knew that Ozymandias was indeed behind the alien invasion, and they have decided that imprisonment is the best place for him. They know that he could always unearth the truth and send the world back to war, and due to this they've moved him to a place where he is unable to communicate with anyone. Those who were aware of the plan at the end of the graphic novel were Rorschach, who was killed because he refused to keep quiet about it, Laurie, who we now know is an FBI agent, Night Owl, who has been incarcerated, and Dr. Manhattan, who at the end of the work decided to leave Earth. The only one out of these who seems like he has not only the means to move Ozymandias, but also trap him in a place that will be difficult to escape from, is Dr. Manhattan. In the original graphic novel, Doc was able to transport others to Mars in the blink of an eye, and we know from the first episode of the series that he has been spotted on the planet. There are also confessional-like booths that send messages directly to Mars, so from this we can gather that he is indeed there. We also see video footage of the character building what looks to be a castle on the planet, and this bears a lot of similarities to Ozymandias' home. Due to the time that it would take to get images of the planet and send them back to Earth, we can guess that this isn't live, and the footage may be from months or even years earlier, way back in 2017 when the character went missing. Due to his birthdays, we do know that Ozzy's sections in the show are taking place across several years, so it makes sense that these date back to 2017. I believe that Dr. Manhattan Manhattan has kidnapped the character because he is able to see the future and was carrying this out because it is what had to be done. In case you don't know, Dr. Manhattan can see all time at once, however he can't interfere with it as it is all preordained, and even if he wanted to change the future, he would be unable to because that is not the way that things happen. Basically, the line that sums it up best from the graphic novel is, "We are all puppets, I can just see the strings." Time is cyclical, the past is the present as the present is the past, and yeah, a lot of timey-wimey wibbly wobbly stuff. Anyway, because of this, the Doc would have known the outcome of leaving Ozzy on Earth, and therefore it makes sense that he would be moved to Mars. But how does that explain why it looks like Ozzy is in the luscious countryside, surrounded by endless fields and beautiful landscapes? Well, in the graphic novel, Ozzy actually built something very similar to this in the Arctic Pole at his Palace of Karnak. We see in that the character created a giant dome with a luscious tropical rainforest within it, and a larger version of this could be what's being used to house him. Now, I am open to the idea as well that Ozzy is still in the Arctic Pole, like how we left him at the end of the graphic novel, trapped in a dome there. I just think Mars seems a bit more likely due to the fact that Dr. Manhattan was seen building a castle on the planet, but either one of these locations is inhospitable for humans, so it could really go either way. I just think that by now surveillance on Earth, as well as expeditions to the poles, would have picked up on him being there. Anyway, Ozzy is clearly trying to escape this in order to get back to civilization, and thus he has been using clones at the location to test out the safest way to do this. These clones could either have been provided by Dr. Manhattan, who can create duplicates, or by Ozzy, who we know has dabbled in genetic engineering due to his cat Bubastis, which he created using science. Either way, Ozzy has been using them to test the temperatures of the environment outside of his prison, and this is why we see the clone in episode 3 come back frozen solid. Ozzy realizes that he needs a thicker skin and thus attempts to use a buffalo's hide, though he is stopped by the game warden, who is probably the warden of the prison. Yeah, the clue's in the title. The catapult could potentially be used to throw him beyond the barrier of the prison into the cold reaches of space, which he will need a suit for. There's also a theory floating around that Ozzy is using all of the bodies of the clones in order to build a raft. This ties in with the black freighter work from the source material, in which a stranded sailor uses the corpses of his comrades in order to build a raft to sail back to the mainland. In that, the character goes mad and ends up murdering his own family, who he believes have been taken by the titular black freighter that left him shipwrecked, and in the story this always had clear allusions to Ozymandias' arc. Could this metaphor be running now, with the character attempting to carry out a similar process to the sailor in the book? Potentially. I know Mars is millions of miles away from Earth, so it would be a long journey, but there may also be crafts, space stations and the like orbiting the planet. We know from the original work that technologically, the world of Watchmen is far more advanced than our own, and they may have the means to send mancraft to Mars. There may even be an outpost on the planet that he is trying to reach in order to send an SOS message. Now, I have seen people say that the Doc would know all this and stop him, however the character's foresight has been limited before by Ozzy, who was able to manipulate tachyons in order to stop him viewing the future. In conclusion, I think there is enough evidence here to support the theory that Ozymandias is on Mars. He is building the means of travel to escape the planet, using whatever resources that he has around him in order to reach either an outpost or another ship so he can finally travel back to Earth. The character has the intelligence, means and ability to do this, and though he may be a bit senile, watching him piece it all together is definitely my favourite part of the show. Now obviously I'd love to hear your thoughts on this theory, and if you agree with my take on it, or have an even better one. If you're from the future and this video has aged worse than Silk Spectre Senior, then make sure you let us know what really happened. If you enjoyed this, then please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to stay locked to the channel for weekly breakdowns on every episode of HBO's Watchmen. I'll leave the playlist of all the videos so far in the season, so if you need a quick catch up or just want to watch a recap, then make sure you check them out. If you want to come chat to me after the video, then make sure you follow me on Twitter at DeffinitionYT, or head over to my Discord server, which will be linked in the description below. Those are the best ways to keep up to date with all the latest videos on the channel, so hopefully I see you over there very soon. We're also giving away a free copy of the Marvel Phase 3 Part 1 box set on Blu-ray, which contains Civil War, Doctor Strange, Homecoming, Ragnarok and more, and all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning is like the video, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and leave your thoughts on my theory in the comments section below. The winner is going to be chosen on the 15th of November, and the set will be shipped out from then to whoever gets the prize, so best of luck to everyone who takes part. This is a channel for people who are super into superheroes, so if that's the kind of thing you like, hit subscribe. Thanks again for taking the time to watch this. I've been Deffinition, you've been the best, and I'll see you next time. Take care, peace.